Welcome to session 2 of module 4, that is free vibrations. In the previous session we have discussed about what is meant by vibration, definitions of terminologies pertaining to vibration. We have also discussed about the meaning of simple harmonic motion and the equation used to represent displacement, velocity and acceleration. We have also discussed the types of vibrations. We have discussed about the longitudinal vibration, we have discussed about transverse vibration and torsional vibration. In this session, we will be discussing about the different methods used to find the natural frequency. The first method is equilibrium method, or it is also called as D'Alembert's principle. The definition of this principle is a body or a system which is not in static equilibrium due to acceleration can be brought to static equilibrium by introducing the inertia force on it. If we consider a spring mass system for this example, so the body or a system which is not in static equilibrium due to acceleration can be brought to static equilibrium by introducing the inertia force on it. So when the inertia force is acting on a body, the body can be brought into static equilibrium. That is why this principle is also called as equilibrium method. Here, consider the spring mass system with the free body diagram as shown below. In the first figure, we can see that one of the end of the spring is fixed, the other end is free with no mass attached to it. Once the mass m is attached, the spring is displaced. So the second figure indicates the elongation of the spring due to the attachment of the mass. And when a displacement x is given to the mass gets a displacement of x, and the displacement figure is shown in figure 3. The mean position is called as static equilibrium position. So the displacement is taken always from the static equilibrium position to the displaced position. Let x be the displacement of the mass. Now, the free body diagram of this system is shown in figure B. Here, the mass m is represented with two forces, one acting in the downward, the other one in the upward direction. Since the weight of the mass is acting in the downward direction, so therefore the mass into gravity is shown in the downward direction, and the spring force or the spring stiffness is K, and delta is the displacement of the spring. So therefore K delta is represented in the upward direction. The displacement or the stiffness of the spring causes the displacement to be restricted. So therefore it is in the upward direction. Now the another figure shows the displacement of the mass with respect to the static equilibrium position. Here the mass m is given an acceleration in the downward direction. So therefore x double dot is shown in the downward direction. The inertia force will be obviously acting in the opposite direction. So therefore mx double dot is represented in the upward direction. The total displacement of the spring is x into this x and the total displacement is delta. After the mass is attached, the mass has certain weight because of which the spring is displaced. Let that displacement be taken as delta, and once the force or the mass is displaced by a displacement x, the displacement is taken as x. So therefore the total displacement is delta plus x caused by the spring. So therefore x plus delta is represented inside the bracket. So k into delta plus x in the upward direction. The equation of equilibrium method can also be written as a vibrating system can be brought in equilibrium if summation of inertia forces and external forces is equals to 0. So the principle of D'Alembert's principle can also be explained in other way, that the summation of inertia forces plus external forces should be equals to 0. Now, when we consider the figure B, the forces acting on the mass are weight mg, which is acting downward. Let me show the slide once again. The weight mg acting downward, and the inertia force and the spring force are acting in the upward direction. So therefore inertia force and spring force, so they are acting in the upward direction. So spring force is represented as k into delta plus x, and inertia force is mx double dot, which is acting in the upward direction. Now, according to D'Alembert's principle, we can write that the summation of inertia forces and external forces is equals to 0. Therefore, if we write all the forces acting, then let me take the convention for downward direction as negative and for upward direction as positive. Then minus mg plus k into delta plus x plus mx double dot is equals to 0. If we open the bracket here, the equation can also be written as minus mg plus k delta plus kx plus mx double dot is equals to 0. Here mg is equals to k delta. Why? Because the value of mass into gravity, which is acting in the downward direction, and the displacement of the spring by delta are both equal acting on the body. So therefore mg is equals to k delta. So therefore they cancel with each other, and we are left over with kx plus mx double dot is equals to 0. Now the above equation can be written as x double dot plus k by m into x equals to 0. So the terms have been rearranged properly, and let me call this as equation number 1. As discussed in our previous session, we know that the equation for simple harmonic motion is x double dot plus omega n square x equals to 0. Let this equation be called as equation number 2. Comparing equation 1 and 2, we get that there are all the terminologies similar. So therefore omega n square is equals to k by m. So omega n square is equals to k by m when we compare equation 1 and 2. Using this equation, we get the equation for angular frequency, that is omega n is equals to under the root k by m. The unit of angular frequency is radians per second. Natural frequency f is equals to omega n by 2 pi. So therefore, substituting the value of omega n, the natural frequency is 1 by 2 pi into square root of k by m. Since we know that mg is equals to k delta, so therefore the value of k by m can also be written as g by delta. In certain cases, both the formulas hold good. So 1 by 2 pi under the root k by m or 1 by 2 pi under the root g by delta. Both the equations are equal for natural frequency. Now, the unit of natural frequency is hertz or cycle per second. Using the above values, another formula, that is time period, can also be found out. Time period is represented as Tp, which is equals to 1 by f. Since we already know that f is equals to 1 by 2 pi square root of k by m, so therefore reciprocal of that is 2 pi into square root of m by k. So the unit of time period is second. This is the equation for time period. So therefore, by using D'Alembert's principle, we can find out the equation for angular frequency, natural frequency and time period. The second method is energy method. The statement of energy method goes like this. According to the law of conservation of energy, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be converted from one form to another. Considering the same example of a spring mass system shown in figure, here the spring has a stiffness k and the mass is m and the displacement is x. In this spring mass system, there are two forms of energy acting on the body. One is the potential energy and another one is the kinetic energy. Now, as we all know that kinetic energy is due to motion and the second one, potential energy, is due to the potential energy or the gravitational potential energy, and the second one is the strain energy due to spring. Potential energy are of two types. One is gravitational potential energy and strain energy due to spring. Now, let us write the equations for kinetic energy and potential energy. According to the statement of energy method, we know that the total energy is equals to constant. That is, the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy is equals to constant. So we can write it as kinetic energy plus potential energy is equals to constant. Let us call this as equation number 1. We all know that the equation for kinetic energy is equals to half mv square, where v stands for velocity. Since in the spring mass system, x represents the displacement and x dot represents the velocity, so therefore we can write the kinetic energy of the spring mass system as half m x dot square. Half m x dot square. So here x dot represents the velocity. Now, in order to find out the potential energy, we consider the spring force versus deflection graph as shown in figure. The spring force is represented as F and the deflection as X. We consider spring force along y-axis and deflection along x-axis. The force, spring force versus deflection of the spring mass system is always a linear curve. So this straight line represents it is a linear curve. If we hatch the portion, considering the extreme point, if we hatch it, The hatched portion is a triangle. The hatched portion is a triangle. We all know that the spring force F is equals to spring stiffness into displacement. That is, F is equals to K into X. And from the area of the triangle, we know that the area of the triangle is half into base into height. So using this concept, we can find out the potential energy. Now, potential energy is equals to area under the spring force versus deflection graph. So this area we have to consider. Since it is a triangular area, we can write that A is equals to half into base into height. In this figure, the base is taken as the deflection. This one is taken as X, and the height H is taken as spring force, which is equals to Kx. Substituting these values here, so therefore potential energy is equals to half into base is X and height is spring force, that is Kx. So using this, we can write that half into K into X square, which is nothing but the potential energy. From equation 1, in the previous equation, we have half mx dot square plus half kx square is equals to constant. That is, kinetic energy plus potential energy is equals to constant. So therefore, in equation 1, if we substitute the value of kinetic energy half mv square, that is half mx dot square, and potential energy half kx square, the equation is obtained in this fashion. Let us call this as equation number 2. As discussed in our D'Alembert's principle, we know that the equation for simple harmonic motion is x double dot plus omega n square x is equals to 0. Let me call this as equation number 3. Now, since if we compare equation 2 and 3, we do not have any term which is representing the acceleration or x double dot. So therefore, in order to compare these two equations, we need to have a term which is having x double dot in this equation 2. That can be better obtained when we differentiate this equation 2. So therefore, differentiating equation 2 with respect to time t, d by dt of the second equation, half mx dot square plus half kx square is equals to 0. If we differentiate this equation with respect to time t, we get 1 by 2 m, and x dot square is nothing but 2 into x dot into x double dot. So therefore, this is further differentiated, half kx square is further differentiated here. So 1 by 2 k, differentiation of x square is 2x, x dot is equals to 0. Now, taking out the similar terms, we get m x double dot. Here 1 by 2 and 2 cancels. Here also 1 by 2 and 2 cancels. So we are left over with mx double dot plus kx x dot is equals to 0. Further simplifying, since x dot is common, so therefore we, after simplification, we get x double dot plus k by m into x is equals to 0. Let us call this as equation number 4. Now, comparing the equation 4 with the simple harmonic motion, we get the equation for angular frequency as omega n square is equals to k by m. Angular frequency omega n is equals to under the root of k by m in radians per second. Natural frequency f is represented as omega n by 2 pi. So therefore, omega n is already obtained as root of k by m. So therefore, 1 by 2 pi under the root k by m. As discussed in your previous derivation, we know that mg is equals to k delta. So therefore, the above equation can also be written as 1 by 2 pi under the root g by delta, where the unit of natural frequency is hertz or cycles per second. Using the above equation, we can also find out the time period Tp, which is equals to 1 by f, that is reciprocal of natural frequency. Hence, time period Tp is equal to 2 pi into square root of m by k, and its unit is seconds. The third method is Rayleigh's method. The statement of this Rayleigh's method is, usually it is based on the principle of the total energy of a vibrating system, and it is an extension of energy method that we discussed now. So this method is extension of energy method. It is based on the principle that the total energy of a vibrating system is equal to the maximum potential energy. At any moment, total energy is either kinetic energy or potential energy or sum of the both. In case of Rayleigh's method, the total energy may be either kinetic energy or total energy may be potential energy, or it may be the summation of both kinetic energy and potential energy. Let us say now total energy is kinetic energy. So therefore, kinetic energy maximum is equals to 1 by 2 mx dot square is equal to 1 by 2 m omega a whole square. So how this equation is obtained? Now, if we consider the same spring mass system, when the mass is pulled to the maximum position in the downward direction, then the kinetic energy is maximum. And when the mass is left and the mass moves up, the potential energy is maximum. So, based on this principle, we can calculate the kinetic energy and potential energy. Now, first of all, we will consider that the total energy is kinetic energy and then find out the equation. So, now considering the kinetic energy is maximum, we know that the equation for kinetic energy is half mx dot square. So, this equation is obtained by using the equation of simple harmonic motion. We all know that in the session 1 we discussed the equation for simple harmonic motion, that is x equals to a sine omega t. Here when we differentiate this equation, we get x dot, which is equals to omega a sine omega t. When it is differentiated, we get it as cos omega t. So therefore, the omega t is a very small term, and therefore since it is neglected, we get x dot is equals to omega into a. And since this term omega t is very small, so displacement x can be taken as a. So using this, we can write the equation of kinetic energy as 1 by 2 m x dot square. In place of x dot square, we can write it as omega a square. So therefore 1 by 2 m omega a square. If we consider that the total energy is potential energy, then potential energy maximum is equals to, we all know that potential energy is half k into x square. Substituting the value of x as a, we get half into k into a square. Now, since we know by the definition of Rayleigh's method that at any moment total energy is either kinetic energy or potential energy or summation of both. So therefore, we can write from equation of kinetic energy and potential energy as half m omega a whole square is equals to half ka square, equating these two equations. After simplification, we get m omega square is equals to k when similar terms on left hand side and right hand side get cancelled with each other. Here omega square is nothing but the equation for angular frequency. So therefore, using this equation we can write omega n square is equals to k by m. We all know that angular frequency omega n is equals to what? Under the root of k by m radians per second. The equation for natural frequency is again f is equals to omega n by 2 pi, which is equals to 1 by 2 pi under the root k by m. As discussed earlier, k by m can also be written as g by delta. So therefore, the other equation for natural frequency, that is f equals to 1 by 2 pi under the root g by delta hertz or cycles per second, also holds good. The equation for time period is nothing but the reciprocal of frequency. So therefore, time period Tp is equals to 1 by f, which is nothing but 2 pi into square root of m by k seconds. These are the three different methods. Now, we shall discuss about how the mass of the spring is going to affect. Effect of mass of spring. Considering the same classical spring mass system for our analysis, the spring mass system is shown in the figure. Let us consider that the spring is having a stiffness k and the mass m is attached to one end of the spring and the other end of the spring is fixed. Let us consider small l as the total length of the spring. When the mass m is attached, the spring gets elongated. Let us consider that the spring, a small element of the spring is going to be displaced. Let it be denoted as delta y. And let us consider that this delta y is taken at a distance y from the fixed end. Here the abbreviations used are represented. So L is the total length of the spring, ms is taken as total mass of the spring, because we are going to consider the mass of the spring as well as the mass of the body for the analysis. So therefore, ms and m are two different masses considered in this derivation. So ms is the total mass of the spring and mass of the spring element of length delta y, okay, at a distance y from the fixed end will be ms by L into dy. So we are going to consider the mass of this spring element, small portion of the spring element at a distance y. So therefore, the mass of that small portion of the spring is v ms for the total length L into dy. As we all know, here the x is the displacement of the mass attached to the spring. So therefore, x denotes the displacement of the mass m of the spring. Then the displacement at a distance y from the fixed end will be y into x by L. So that is the displacement for a total length of L at a distance y is nothing but So x by L of this y. Using the above equation of displacement, we can write the equation for velocity as velocity of the mass m at a distance y from fixed end will be equals to y into x dot by L, where x dot represents the velocity. Now we have the equation for displacement and velocity. So therefore, we can write down the equations for kinetic energy and potential energy. Considering the kinetic energy first. The kinetic energy of the spring element of length dy will be, kinetic energy of spring is equals to half m v square. So here we have half m, mass of the spring, that is ms into dy by L, and the velocity is v. So y into x dot by L whole square, and therefore total kinetic energy of the spring will be equals to kinetic energy of the spring when the length of the spring varies from 0 to L. So integrating the above equation between the limits 0 to L. So 1 by 2 mass ms by L into dy and the velocity y into x dot by L whole square, half m v square. If we differentiate this and between the limits when we apply, then we get the value of kinetic energy of the spring as half ms by 3 into x dot square after simplification. Now, the total kinetic energy of the spring mass system, the total spring mass system will be kinetic energy total is equals to kinetic energy of mass plus kinetic energy of the spring. As we all know that the kinetic energy of mass will be half m x dot square as discussed earlier, plus kinetic energy of spring as obtained now 1 by 2 ms by 3 x dot square. After simplification, taking out the common terms, the value of kinetic energy is equals to 1 by 2 m plus ms by 3 x dot square. This is the equation for kinetic energy. Let us call this as equation number 1. Now, potential energy of this system is PE, which is equals to half k x square. Potential energy is equals to half into k into x square. Now, assuming that the mass m is subjected to harmonic motion, let us consider the harmonic motion is x of t is equals to x cos omega n t. Then what does x represents here? X represents the maximum displacement of mass and omega n represents the natural frequency of the system. So therefore, the maximum value of kinetic energy and potential energy can be expressed as kinetic energy maximum, potential energy maximum. Now, kinetic energy maximum is equals to 1 by 2 m plus ms by 3. So, x dot square is nothing but differentiating this equation with respect to t. So, we get, when we differentiate this equation, we get x square omega n square. Now, when you differentiate this, the cos term will be neglected, and since it is very small, so therefore the equation after simplification, after differentiation, will be x square omega n square. The equation for potential energy is equals to 1 by 2 k x square. So here x is taken as capital X. Even small x is represented by capital X here. Now, according to the energy conservation law, we know that kinetic energy is equals to potential energy maximum. So therefore, equating these two equations, kinetic energy maximum is equals to potential energy maximum. So 1 by 2 m plus ms by 3 x square omega n square is equals to 1 by 2 k x square. Simplifying this equation, cancelling the similar terms, and the equation for angular frequency omega n can be obtained as omega n is equals to under the root k divided by m plus ms by 3 radians per second. Using the equation for angular frequency, the equation for natural frequency can be calculated as natural frequency f is equals to omega n by 2 pi. So therefore 1 by 2 pi into square root of k divided by m plus ms by 3 hertz. Coming to the multiple choice questions on the topics that we discussed. The first multiple choice question is, in which direction does the damping force acts? The options given are option A, opposite to the motion, option B, along the motion, option C, perpendicular to motion, and option D, variable. We all know that the damping force always acts opposite to the motion, and damper are introduced to stop the vibration phenomena, or they are introduced to restrict the vibration phenomenon. So therefore damping force always acts in the opposite direction to the motion. So therefore the right answer is option A, opposite to the motion. The second question is, in which direction does the accelerating force acts? As we all know, in case of a spring mass system, the accelerating force will always be acting in the direction of motion, and the inertia force will always be acting in the opposite direction, so that it will be brought into static equilibrium. The options given for this question are opposite to the motion, along the motion, perpendicular to motion, and variable. So therefore the direction in which the accelerating force acts will be along the motion. The third question is, which among the following is the fundamental equation of simple harmonic motion? In all the derivations that we discussed, the right equation for simple harmonic motion is x double dot plus omega n square x is equals to 0. So therefore the other three options, x double dot plus k by mx is equals to 0 is wrong, x double dot plus k by m whole square x is equals to 0 is also a wrong answer, and x double dot plus omega x square is equals to 0 is also a wrong answer. So the right answer for the question is x double dot plus omega n square x is equals to 0. That is answer B is the right answer. The fourth question is, according to which method maximum kinetic energy at mean position is equal to maximum potential energy at extreme position? Among all the three methods discussed, the Rayleigh's method makes use of the concept of maximum kinetic energy at mean position is equal to maximum potential energy at extreme position. So therefore the options that are displayed, that is energy method, Rayleigh's method, equilibrium method, all of the above. So in this four, the right answer will be Rayleigh's method, that is answer B will be the right one. Thank you.